Hello, today we're going to be looking at the characteristics of life, whether something is living or non-living. There are 7 things we'll be looking at, 7 characteristics of a living or non-living being. What makes something living? You could follow along with this little YouTube video on Cookie Monster checking to see if he is living compared to the rock. And his version is very small. It's only 3 characteristics, and we will get into some of the other characteristics here in our next slide. Characteristic 1 is organization and cells. All living things have cells and they are very highly organized. The cell itself is very organized in organelles and things that it has inside the cell, including DNA. And living beings, larger multicellular living beings, are highly organized from the cellular level up to the organ level and the organ system level. So you can see here in this characterization, cells are organized into tissues, and it goes along in the picture as well. And then tissues are organized into organs, and organs are organized into organ systems, and organ systems are then organized into organism. This starts on even a smaller level at the atom and molecule and macromolecule level, which we'll talk about some macromolecules in our next section. The atom and the molecule you'll talk about more in physical science or chemistry. Characteristic 1 with organization and cells also leads us to 2 terms, unicellular versus multicellular. Unicellular organisms are single-celled, and some examples are bacteria. Multicellular are organisms that are made up of many cells, all functioning together, so many cellular cell. Characteristic 2 is the ability to respond to stimuli. So basically living things move and react to the environment that's around them. If you were to put your hand near something that's warm, you would react by moving away from that warm object if it was a fire or something like that, as you can see in the picture. Living things out in the environment will react to positive stimuli by moving towards it and negative stimuli by moving away. Characteristic 3 is homeostasis, a very important part of our study in biology. You will see this word homeostasis from now to the end of the semester, so be sure that you learn it. Homeostasis is the ability to maintain a stable internal environment. The living organism, even the single-celled organism, has the ability to maintain certain levels of or certain conditions within its environment. So something that lives in a saltwater environment will regulate how much water comes into or out of their cells. Somebody like us will have the ability to regulate temperature without having to think about it. So you can go out on a hot day and your body will naturally begin to sweat in order to maintain your internal temperature. Homeostasis is vital to any living thing staying alive. Number 4 is metabolism, and this simply means that living things eat food and drink water. They use energy. So metabolism itself is the ability to use energy, and there are different ways that organisms do this. We have autotrophs that make their own food. Examples are photosynthesizers, which would be our normal plants that we might think of. They take in sun energy and turn that into usable energy. And chemosynthesizers take chemicals from the environment and turn those into usable energy. Heterotrophs will eat other things for food. Some examples are predator-prey examples, or maybe a parasite to a host, things like that. Characteristic number 5 is that the object or organism will grow and develop. So all living things are able to increase in size and they will develop to a mature level. So even a single-celled organism will start off very small and eventually it will get to its mature size and be able to function as a mature single-celled organism. Same thing happens with multicellular organisms, it just happens on a larger scale. Number 6 is reproduction. All living things are able to make more of themselves. And so if we're looking at a single-celled organism or maybe a plant or something like that that is asexual, the organism will make an exact copy of itself. This happens through mitosis as an example, and a single cell will just make an exact copy of itself. In a plant situation, we might see budding, where it's making an exact copy of those cells. In us, we have mitosis happening all the time to make new cells. Sexual is where organisms mate to produce offspring, and this is kind of an example we'll get to in Chapter 8 is meiosis, where we look at the production of egg and sperm cells. And number 7 characteristic is change over time. All living things have the ability to evolve. That ability to change over time and the population or the species itself to change over time is a characteristic of life.